Ever hear of a film coming back to theaters 12 years after its initial release? Or how about it getting a brand new trailer for its re-release? Yeah, probably not. But if any film deserves this treatment, it's the phenomenal Avatar. Even more than a decade later, it's one of the best films of all time, and it's come as a delight to enthusiasts everywhere that the sequel's finally coming to cinemas in December. First up, why is it the most insanely complicated film ever? We all know how intensely detailed Avatar was, and given that it took director James Cameron 12 years to get to releasing the sequel, it can only be 12 times more complicated. But what has led fans to call it insanely complicated? Just the various types of new technology being used and the effort that's being put into making it look as lifelike as possible. As the name, The Way of Water, entails, the film has a lot to do with water bodies, and there's no way to make that look authentic except just filming more than half of the film underwater. It's no secret that filming underwater is extremely difficult for actors, and to counter that problem, the cast had to take breathing lessons to allow them to stay in the water for 3 minutes at a time. But since Avatar is all about CGI, filming underwater posed a real challenge for post-production. If you've seen the trailer, you know what the shots are like. Impeccable and phenomenal are words that fall short of describing the attention to detail Cameron has put in. It makes sense why it took 13 years for this film to come to life. After all, it took an entire village of machines and humans to do it. The underwater performance was captured with 15 cameras, with 2 on every actor's face capture. In addition to that, underwater reference capture was used for fully CG creatures, and to place CG characters in the live-action footage, they had infrared depth capture. Moving on, what's so impressive about all this technology? The entire holdup with the release had to do with the perfection the motion capture technology required in the water. And since water is kinda really important, they went and invented a new technology to make it look as seamless as possible. And when it comes to Cameron, you know it means realer than real. The tech was specifically designed to capture the actors' movements underwater as cleanly as possible. The Canadian filmmaker said that it took more than a year for the system to eradicate the optical problems that cameras were facing underwater, as the interaction between air and water created a moving mirror that reflected all the dots and markers that actors wear as a part of motion capture suits. This extra, not to mention very costly effort, sets Avatar apart from others because instead of relying completely on CGI to mimic underwater scenes by suspending people from cables, the actors are submerged in a 900,000-gallon water tank designed to imitate ocean currents. Films like Aquaman took the traditional route, and the scenes undeniably look too unrealistic. And since photorealism is Cameron's first and foremost priority while directing, using brand new technology makes sense. The badass scene with Sam Worthington's character firing a machine gun while riding it underwater sparked a debate with VFX enthusiasts. They couldn't seem to decide if the shot was real or completely CGI, and upon finding out that it was the latter, they couldn't believe their eyes. It seems Cameron's outdone even himself this time. Next up, we had to optimize the 3D experience as well. Back in 2009, Cameron had pioneered a better version of 3D that would minimize eye strain and increase the quality of the experience. It's also justified to say that he began the trend for 3D film watching in cinemas, inspiring filmmakers and studios to convert to 3D. But of course, nobody could do it the way he did, and so the trend died down over time when moviegoers realized it was a waste of their money. Now, with the release of Avatar 2 around the corner, fans are excited to relive the 3D experience again, and to make it even better, the Terminator director invented some more new tech. It would suck to be his competition, that's for sure. First off, Avatar will be shown in the 4K high dynamic range, reflecting the current state of digital projection. Cameron has fine-tuned his high frame rate camera technology to create more photorealistic and believable images on screen. The Way of Water will be released in 3D, and it will definitely look brighter and more beautiful than the first film. However, he remains an outlier rather than a proponent of 3D as an essential part of the movie-going experience. Even filmmakers who have released 3D films, including Denis Villeneuve with Dune, have largely deprioritized the format. Lastly, why was James Cameron hesitant about making the sequel? After the record-breaking success of its prequel, Cameron was doubtful regarding the sequel. In an interview with Empire magazine, he shared that he had to think for quite some time before he made the final decision, because once something as successful as the original has been put out into the world, it's daunting to try it again. If it fails, it might tamper with the entire franchise for years to come, and so the director had to consider his options for around 2 years before he made a deal. However, the 148 million views in 24 hours on the first highly anticipated Avatar: The Way of Water first trailer begs to differ. Given how long fans have had to wait for this film and how it's looking so far, we can confidently say that the sequel will be another box office smash. Even if the plot isn't mind-blowing, it doesn't matter nearly as much as regular films would because, let's face it, we're all going to see it for the insane visuals, and those we'll definitely get. Moving on to other news, the video isn't over just yet. We're going to go over some fresh updates from the set while we wait impatiently for the film to come out. First up, let's look at what upset Disney Plus users. Following Disney's acquisition of Fox, Avatar became available on the streaming service, with many choosing to watch Cameron's 2009 blockbuster ahead of the sequel, which is set to be released in December. However, it was noted that Avatar had been removed from the service and was no longer available to stream anywhere in the world. Many have criticized Disney for removing the film without informing the public, in what is being characterized as a money-driven decision designed to get more people to buy tickets to see the film in theaters. Twitter users have called the move stupid and concerning. At the same time, others have appreciated the attempt to create an experience for fans, although it may be true that it's heavily motivated by financial gains. Some have even pointed out how it's important to own physical media in situations like this, and others have argued that they pay for their subscriptions to be able to choose when they view films. However, the reality of the situation is that the film has been removed and will be re-released in theaters by the 23rd of September. Next up, Sigourney Weaver teases her new silly role in The Way of Water. The actress played Dr. Grace Augustine in Cameron's first film, but her character didn't survive in that one, and now she's been brought back as a teenage girl. In an interview with Empire magazine, she talked about how this role was challenging and unlike any other she's played before. She admitted that playing Kiri, the adopted teenage daughter of Jake Sully, played by Sam Worthington, and Natri, played by Zoe Saldana, had to be the biggest stretch she's ever taken as an actor, and that to do it well, she felt the need to approach it in a different way. But despite the difficulty, she enjoyed the process of playing a kid and feeling like one again. In retrospect, it was probably a good experience for her inner child, and that's what acting is all about after all. She was also glad that Cameron gave her such a challenge while also trusting her to do it well. Unfortunately, the actress remained tight-lipped about everything else as she couldn't really talk about the film itself. We've been patient for more than a decade, so what's a couple more months? And finally, this isn't the last of the sequels. We know this is better than any birthday present. There will reportedly be at least 3 more films following Avatar: The Way of Water. Avatar 3 was shot alongside Avatar 2 and is set to be released on December 20th, 2023, since it was nearly finished as of late 2021, as was Avatar 4, which is set to be released on December 16th, 2026. The 4th installment was actually developed for several years without receiving a proper green light from Disney, and the same is true for Avatar 5, which is currently scheduled for December 22nd, 2028. After a 13-year wait for the first sequel in the franchise, fans are set for the next couple of years with this timeline. Isn't that sweet? And that's all, guys. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the premiere? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Goodbye for now, and we'll see you in the next one.